This is the channel card from the revised edition of Magic the Gathering that I'm thinking about putting in my Legacy deck. And this is the Be a Hero Gaming channel where we talk about action and adventure games and how you can be a hero in your real lives as well as in your games. It has been said that a wise person learns from their own mistakes, and a wiser person learns from the mistakes of others. If you look out in the world, you see some people that ended up in a bad place because of their actions. You can decide to yourself, well, I'm not going to take those actions because I don't want to end up where that person is. Or I guess you could look at it in the opposite light. You could look at someone who is in a place where you want to be, and you could ask yourself, hey, maybe I should, instead of being angry or jealous of that person, I should go ask them how they got there and what I can do to get there. So not only can you learn from other people's mistakes, but you can also learn from other people's successes. And that principle applies directly to today's video, because today we are talking about why there are so many different ways to play Magic the Gathering. And I mentioned Legacy as just one of those modes of play. And it's very confusing for new players as well as even seasoned players to keep up with the different modes of play and why they're there. I think it would be very difficult for a new player to get into the hobby of Magic the Gathering and realize that there are so many different ways to play this game. And I did a video just recently about that, about one of the reasons why I think Magic is kind of taking a turn for the worse, just because its mode of play has been so confusing that some people don't even know what is the game for real Magic the Gathering. What's the real game? Is it Commander? Is it Standard? Is it Modern? What's the real game? And if you know the answer to that question, post in the comments. And I'm sure you'll probably say it's Standard, but most people play Commander. Most people don't play Standard, and so it becomes very confusing for new players as well as seasoned players. Now, you will get your answer to this question if you go over to the Magic the Gathering website, and there are different official sanctioned modes of play on the website. And the area where you get your answer is, I just printed a couple of these off here. You will see a list that looks like this: the Legacy banned cards. And when I look down here, Channel, unfortunately, is on that list. So sorry, Channel, you will not be able to go into the deck because you have been banned from the Legacy format. And not only Channel, but these cards and all these cards as well. Man, I can't use a Soul Ring, and man, those are in all the Commander decks. Shoot. So what's another mode of play I can use? Well, there's Pioneer, and there's a whole bunch more banned cards on that. And I know a lot of people might think, well, what about Pauper? That's just all commons, and so that should be kind of a slam dunk. You can just use, oh, nope, there are Pauper banned cards as well. Quite a long list here that you're not able to use in Pauper. Okay, Commander banned cards, that's the most popular way. Oh, but sorry, format. But there's a lot of banned Commander cards too, including, wait a second, didn't they make this card specifically for Commander? And now we can't use it. That's kind of weird. All these cards here as well are not allowed to be used. If you're going to play Vintage, which seems like old school, you know, you should be able to play most of the cards, but Channel is also not allowed in that mode either. So even if I'm playing Vintage, oh, there's a whole bunch more cards in Vintage. Modern, there's no way there's banned cards in Modern because it's all the new stuff. They would have figured that out. Nope, there's a whole bunch of Modern cards that are also not allowed. Now, this isn't all the formats from the website. There are several other formats that I did not print off, but this is the reason why there's so many formats and ways to play Magic, is because people collect the cards, and if a card becomes banned from the standard format, it's kind of useless. Maybe it's a really cool looking card, and maybe it's kind of still collectible to you, but I thought they made this game to play the game. And so if you have a card that you can't use, what good is this card to me anymore? And so it becomes very frustrating for players when they have a lot of cards they're not allowed to use in their games. So hey, let's just create another format where you can use those cards. And then more cards come out. We find out we've got to ban some of those and we can't use them in these two formats. So let's create another format. All these formats spring up all over the place because people want to be able to use their cards in the game. Otherwise, their cards are kind of useless. Now, let's get back to learning from the mistakes of other people. Wouldn't it be great if there was a game that thought about this from the beginning, that thought, we don't want to do this. We don't want to ban cards. Now, it's not only the banned cards. There are also cards that are restricted, meaning you can only have one copy in your deck. I think the other cards, it's 4. I could be wrong. I think it's 4 for most cards. But if a card is restricted, it can only have one copy in the deck. Okay, so how do I know if I can have one copy or multiple? I gotta go through the banned cards and all these lists and scroll through and figure out, well, first of all, which format am I gonna play? Which is the real format? I don't know. Which format am I gonna play? And check the banned cards, check the restricted cards. I know Magic has talked about doing some kind of system to fix this. Man, it would have been nice if they thought about that from the beginning. The cool thing is there is a game that has thought about this from the beginning. And the game is actually not out yet and will not come out for a few more months, but you will start seeing this game pop up in March. And I just wanted to show you really quickly a little bit about that and a little bit of the genius that they thought of in order to fix this, in order to fix banned cards, restricted cards. How are we going to deal with this? Let me set this aside here. And the game is Wonders of the First. Now, Wonders of the First just released this website here. Let me zoom in on this here. It is compete.wondersccg.com. You can go there and for free, you can get a login with your name and information and password. On this website, you will be able to see different events in the future, games at local game stores. There will be tournaments. You can look at rankings. You can look at all the cards in the initial set of the game. Okay? And sorry, I wish I had better technology where I could just put this up on the screen, but unfortunately, I'm still trying to figure that out. So you'll just have to stare at my computer here. If you look at this here, they have all the cards listed in the entire set. You can hover over the card and it will zoom in on the card and tell you a little bit about the card, or you can see it in detail. Now, if you'll notice, right over here, there is a number, 5, by the Wonder. If you put the Arius of Thalwind in your deck, it's going to cost you 5 points. If you have a 1,000-point deck or an 800-point deck or a 500-point deck, it will be a different level of difficulty to put these cards into your deck depending on how many points they're worth. Currently, it is 1 point to 74 points. And the cool thing is this number is dynamic, so it will be able to change over time as cards prove to be more useful in a deck or kind of more game-breaking. They will be able to increase those point values accordingly. Now, something else that is very cool is if I zoom in again here on Arius of Thalwind, you'll notice right over here, it says that this is a legendary wonder. Now, a legendary wonder, you can only have one copy in your deck. Let's see if we can find a different one here. Let's run down here a little bit. Whoop. That's a token. Let's find someone who's not a token here. This guy. That's also legendary wonder. Who's not legendary? This guy's not legendary. This guy is a secondary wonder. The secondary wonders, you can have 3 copies of those in your deck. If it says a primary wonder, you can have 2 copies of those in your deck. There's never any scanning of anything to figure out how many cards you can have, whether it's restricted to 1, you can look right on the card. Not only that, none of these cards will ever be banned. None of these cards will never come to the point where they will not be allowed in your deck. All of these cards will always be available for you to put in your deck, and never will one be banned or taken away, or they'll have to create a different format because the card's gone away. All of this will be available to you to put in your deck, to play in games, to play in tournaments. And if you're ever wondering how many copies you can have in your deck, This is legendary. You can only have one. This guy down here is secondary. You can have 3. And if a guy is primary, you can have 2. And so there's only 1, 2, or 3 copies of each card that you can have in your deck. Now, you may have heard of Wonders of the First. You may not have heard of it. But I will say this. This game, whether you like it or not, is going to change the collectible card game world. This is only a couple of the several innovations that this game has come up with to not only fix people's frustration with deck construction, but there's several others that they've come up with to fix people's frustration with collectability, with availability, all of which I will go over in future videos. We're going to do some playthroughs with some of these cards that are available right now to playtest. Not all of these cards are available for playtest right now, but some of them are. And we will talk about them and go through how to play and go through a couple of details about the cards. If you're interested in watching, I'm really excited to do that because I think this is a game changer when it comes to the collectible card game world. And fixing all of this stuff, can't even get these papers gathered up here. Fixing all of this stuff is only one thing that they've fixed. Wonders of the First is a perfect example of a game that has learned from the mistakes of others, that has learned from the mistakes of a game becoming so difficult nowadays to understand and wrap your head around because of banned cards, because of so many different ways to play the game, that they realized we want our game to be streamlined, we want it to be easy to learn how to play, and we want all of these beautiful looking cards to be in the game always. We don't want any of this stuff to go away. We don't want any of this stuff to be banned so that people collect these cards and then are not allowed to use them in their decks. I'm super stoked for this game to come out. I'm definitely going to get my hands on some of the cards, do some pack openings, and we'll be putting some decks together and talking about some strategies and different ways to play. I'm super excited for it. Guys, remember, you can look at other people and you can be jealous of their successes, or you can ask them what they did to get there. You can look at other people that have gotten to an area where you don't want to be. Don't make those same mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes before you make them yourselves. And do yourself a favor, go check out Wonders of the First. Again, you can go to this website, compete.wondersccg.com. You can register your name and a password here. You can look at all of these cards and scroll through this and check out all the beautiful images on the cards that are soon to be released, soon available to you to make decks, to play an exciting game. I can't wait. You guys take care, be heroes out there, and thank you so much for watching.